Hi. Um, I want to make another prediction. This is my third prediction based on Sri Lanka chart. Um, if you have watched my earlier two predictions earlier, I have done only two predictions so far, and both came true, fully accurate. This, Sri Lanka is running bad time. We know that. A lot of people are suffering and so much difficulties, and it's collective karma of the nation that all these things are determined by that. So I want to if you watch my earlier videos, where I made the predictions, there's some basis, or very first video that I did explaining how a mundane chart, meaning a country chart, works. Without that, it's going to be hard to repeat all of that here, so it might not understand all this jargon that I'm trying to say, but but you can understand what is yet to come. Like this is based on the Sri Lanka Independence chart of 1948, February 4th. So this is a chart here. Based on this only, I'm making the prediction. I'm using 12 AM chart. I don't use the traditional chart that's being used by a lot of local astrologers. So I'm using this chart. I believe this is the absolutely correct chart for Sri Lanka, because that is what comes through. Now, what I'm doing this here is, you can see here, if you watch my earlier videos, you will say that anytime a malefic planet goes over a certain point, like a most effective point of Sri Lanka, which is 18.36, or it could be 18.30, or it could be 18.30. I can't get it exact because I cannot enter seconds in here, or there could be any small errors, could be on this INAMSA or the longitude or latitude. So I believe this is somewhere around 1830, but I get 1836 on this software. So that is what I'm using. What is happening here is that we know Rahu and Ketu on Sri Lanka chart. We have three red color planets, these are the malefic planets for Sri Lanka. So what really going to happen is that this is a picture of the planets that were there on this date at 12 AM. But these planets keep moving, and then this move here is Ketu is coming back on this particular house. These days it's going in the same house, and it's going to arrive this 18.36 point, this is called most effective point. And whenever Ketu approaches the most effective point, negative things happens. That's what happens. It happens all the time. Actually, I was trying to, this happens basically every 18 plus years. I was trying to look for the Sri Lankan newspapers, but I couldn't find for like 1960s and 80s and 2000. I couldn't find details of what exactly happened on those years. But then again, it depend on how slow this planet is moving. So I didn't do much research into how slow they were using, because I couldn't really find a lot of historical events. So that's what happened. Now here, this one is extremely slow these days. So this is why we are having a lot of issues at the moment. So this is where it is. So what's the thing here? Okay, this is Sri Lanka Independence chart. I'm using something called, what I learned from India, systems approach to Vedic astrology, called Sattva. Now Rahu and Ketu is malefic to us, so that's why I put it in a red. Transiting, in other words, it is approaching now most effective point of 18.30. Ketu in the house, Ketu is coming in the house 1, sorry, aspecting 5th and 9th houses, and Rahu in the house 7th aspecting 3rd and 11th house. So what will happen is that generally when these planets approach these houses, like the in case of Ketu is first house and Rahu is 7th house, because Rahu Ketu always in opposite situation. So you can see this Rahu and Ketu 1. If it's come into 1, it aspects, it influences the house 5 and house 9. And here Rahu influences house 3rd, 7th, 3rd and 11th. So if we have to analyze that, what we need to do is we need to write what are the significations of each house and the planet involved. So we said Ketu is in the first house now, and then aspecting 5th house and the 9th house. So this is the crux of the thing, right? What Ketu stands for is these ones. You can see natural calamities, violence, actions and events, health and accidents, fears and accidents, rules, poor and isolated. And good thing about Ketu is that he promotes spirituality. He gives us the true understanding of life. So that is a good thing. And also, like all monks and everybody who's related to religion it's Ketu. So this is pretty much a negative planet here. And then these houses will be affected: first house, 5th house and 9th house. What I expect is these situations. Okay, now before I go, now that's what I am trying to teach here. Ketu is related to these 3 houses. When these planets are transiting close to the most effective point, when it comes to within 1 degree is the highest point of the effects that's happening. So it's going to be in the 1 degree range from October 6th to January 9th, 2023. So that is what's going to happen from that with this one. But the peak of this transit is going to be on the December 11th to December 13th. So till this date it's going to be really tough, and then after that there will be some solutions being, even though it's bad time, we will still hear some solutions. Some things are going to happen to correct what was happening to some extent. Like for earlier one we had a lot of difficulties till July 1st, and then the government changed and actually we didn't get much of a difference. But like president resigned and those kind of stuff happened after the peak of the transits. But until peak of the transit, is nothing really positive happens. So we can't really expect much of good news till that much of good till this kind of a day here, basically peak December 11 to 13, because I'm not totally sure about whether it's 1836 or it could be 1830, it could be 1820, it could be 1840, so that's, or 1845. So that's why it is, because all these factors comes into that effect. Now what will happen is that all these things are going to affect it. Now what we're going to see is that the first house, I just highlighted some of the items. That's what I believe is going to happen. General condition of the country as a whole. We are in such a poor situation right now, and it's going to get worse. State of law and order, we know it is such a pathetic situation at the moment, because law is not equal to everybody. So that's very, very clear, that law and order is going to be tough also. And also people and their general outlook, it's going to be worse. I mean, people are not going to have much of a confidence to go forward, and the government is not going to truly help people. So we don't expect that either. I mean, public health can affect too. Reputation of the country is really, really bad, because we have the highest inflation and our currency has gone so bad and those kind of stuff. position in the world, we know we are in the first place in certain things right now on the bad sense. So what happens is that whenever this kind of a things happens, first house indicates setbacks for the national identity of the country, which is happening right now, and it's going to be worse. It's going to get more and more worse continuously till this date. And hopefully there will be some changes that will occur after that. We can have another uprising. It's something of that nature. People can be so upset and fed up of our political situation. It's our collective karma. And then because he's going in the first house, so it's going to affect the fifth house here. So you can have all intellectuals are going to be totally they'll be so sad and discouraged, and we'll have the communal harmony, emotional stability of the people. Whole population will be affected. And here the close affliction also affects the emotional upset for the country and setbacks to financial markets of the country also. So this is not very good things over here either, because whenever malefic planet comes, negative side shows up. And then we have the ninth house, our judicial system. We know how that operates. Still the poor person will get punished all the time, and the big people get away. It's not to do with the courts, not necessarily, but it's to do with how it's being administered. So all the poor people getting in trouble, whereas the rich and political people always get away with all this stuff. So this is we're going to see a lot more of that. And then progress and development, and also here we are going to bring incidents of corrupt practices. We have quite a bit of that, but it's going to be worst. We are in such a bad situation, and we understand people as politicians and the officers and those kind of people are still stealing so much. So that will continue. So that is to do with the Ketu part. Ketu is a really, really tough planet. And in terms of God, planet doesn't do anything to us, but in the system, that means these things are all negative side of these things we will see. And on the Rahu now, because Rahu also coming to the same 18.30 on the house 7th, so we know Rahu is to do with manipulations and deceit. All these things, diplomats and all these things are Rahu. But you get manipulation and deceit. Also rules the intoxicants and these stuff. And then we have panic from Rahu, and also cheats and deceit people. And then we have the insincere and immoral acts. So that's come from Rahu. That's how Rahu punishes through. And then we expect these stuff. So he's going in the 7th house. Our tourism is unlikely to do well, till this date. Anyway, the season will start around here. This one here, it says close setbacks to the living standards of the people, challenges for the international position of the country. So that is definitely going to affect here. And then since he's aspecting 3rd house and the 9th house, we are going to have the leadership, communication from the government. We know how the communication really works, because we are not getting the real things from the government. Not necessarily, we hear all the truth. And also here, a lot of other stuff here, these will do poorly also. Education, infrastructure, government with the democracy, we truly don't have a democracy. So that's the thing. About here, we're going to have accident regarding the means of communications. And then here for the 11th house, we are going to have our country income going to go down more. We'll go more poverty. our future plans going to be all messed up here. And then because here it's going to be a lot of manipulation and deceit, we're going to hear a lot of communication saying everything is good, but it's not going to be good. It cannot be good, so that's what happens here. And then this is economic, and its international relations are going to be affected. So this is what truly going to be expected. So we're going to have a truly bad time, and people going to be completely fed off, and very likely people will rise again, and we will see very, very sad situations, and we can have a lot of inflammatory situations where it's going to be fighting, and all this tear gas and all that stuff is going to be very common again. And then what I did was, like, if you want to, that's about it with this here. What is going to happen is period from this is a 1 degree here, and then peak will be around here, and then it will start going slowly down till January 9th. So that's 2023. What I did was, if you don't want to learn anything further, then you don't need to watch anything further here. But here, what I did was, here I am giving where the planet is at the moment. Actually, I did this some time ago, but I couldn't do the video. So, like if you look at it here, like what truly happens is the peak is here. You can see the date somewhere around here, 11, 12, 13. And at that time, Rahu and Ketu, because I'm looking at Rahu and Ketu at the moment. So it is 1842, 1835, and 1829. So these are could be peak days. So it could be this one too, or this one, or it could be this or this too. Because I'm not absolutely sure the most effective point is absolutely 100% correct. So that's why I was saying this. So what truly happens is that what we did in these calculations here are, whenever a planet approaches the most effective point of a point, 1 degree, within 1 degree we take 5 degrees. Like if you look at the 5 degrees from here, 18, so it will be 17 will be 1 degree. Oh, sorry, Rahu Ketu goes the other way. Sorry, Rahu Ketu goes on reverse. So 1 degree will be 19, the 2 degrees would be 20th, and 3 degrees will be 21, 4 degrees will be 22, and the 5 degrees will be 23. So what we can see here is that the Rahu and Ketu always opposite. So it's going in Libra, sign of Libra. What truly happens is that you can see from 23 to 22, it took 12 days to reach. This is in August actually, because effect is already being felt from here down. Because I couldn't do the video, but here you can see 22 to 21, it went very fast, and only 5 days here. And then from 21 to 20, it took 13 days to come down 1 degree. And then here only problem, like here we have 20 to 19, it took 24 days. Now today is here, 29th of September. So that's the time. And then here we have only 24 days, 13 days earlier, 5 days, and 12 days. So pretty much this was really going fast, and then this slowed down here. But unfortunately, slow down much more in this period. That is the problem. So whenever we slow down so much, a lot of negative events happen. So you can see 68 days at the final point. To get to the most effective point, it takes 68 days to reach the 1 degree, come down 1 degree. So 19.36 to reach up to 18.35, it took 68 days. I mean, it is going to take 68 days because yet to happen. So that's why I was saying the peak is here. But that doesn't mean, I don't expect anything positive up here. If we are expecting IMF to say, okay, we are going to give you loan without any problem, it's not going to happen like that. That is not going to happening. Whatever solutions are going to occur from here downwards. So you can see here, to get the 1 degree down, 18, 17, 34 will be on 29th, and to get to the 60%, it will be 9th of January. That's why I use this date over here. So things can change. You can see even here it's quite slow, 17 days to reach, but this is the highest one. So unfortunately, Sri Lanka going to get affected with this long slowdown here. Wherever, even a personal chart, when it slow down, you end up in a hospital and a lot of trouble in life. So much trouble in life. Like you lose every hope until this goes over. So it is something like this. Actually, I have the wrong one here. This should have been the dates here. It's going to come like this. This is the 82.99, and then this is the 99 to 80 negative, going down, and this is going up. So it's quite slow. It goes up. So that is what it is. I just want to explain a little bit more here. The periods we are going to run. We have dasa periods. We are running the Mars main period, Moon sub period, and Saturn sub period. So this is over here, and that is what it begins. We can see what's the condition of the planet is. Malefically influenced Mars, so that's truly negative. Moon is debilitated in the second house. Debilitated means it performs but not to your satisfaction. Saturn means it's in the old age, meaning that planet pretty much don't have much of a power to help us. So that is what is happening. Like it's like we ask a 80-year-old to help us to lift something, or do something very, very hard to do, which is not happening. So, and then we are going to end up in the other thing I want to explain is that if you look at my earlier predictions, Sri Lanka has 3 malefics, planets Mercury, Rahu, and Ketu. These are the 3 malefic planets. These are the ones that give you a hard time for us. So the period of Mars, Moon, Mercury is the most malefic planet for Sri Lanka. When it's most malefic planet, a lot of negative things happens. So period we are going to run from here is from October 30th. Is going to be most, this is, Mars is not strong because it's malefically influenced by that one, malefically influenced by Mercury. So Mercury has a total control over Mars, and the Moon is debilitated. So we are not going to be happy. It's going to perform at a very lower rate than expectations. And then the Mercury is the most malefic planet, and is punishing to us. So we, Sri Lanka brought a lot of bad karma, as a nation. So this period is going to be extremely tough here. And then it starts coming Mars, Moon, and Ketu from November, and that is going to be extremely tough also. So we are pretty much going to go very, very negative periods here. And then we are going to have Venus. Venus is our main, our Lagna Lord, but we don't really have, she's also, like you can see here, you can see here in the 5th house, malefically influenced by Ketu. So this is not a good period either. So that is what's going to happen. So we are going to continuously running some bad time. Other one I want to, if you look at my earlier prediction follow-up ones, I said whenever Mercury goes on 18th, Mercury goes on the 18th degree or 17th, close to there, we will always get some bad news, and we know that every time fuel prices go up or some bad news comes up, we know that this is what exactly happened. And you can see my follow-up videos, you can clearly see we have bad news on this, like fuel prices went up, or some other prices went up, or it's really bad news. So I expect bad news on these days for sure, like here, like here, like here. I mean, we will hear continuously bad time over here too. So particularly, it will be more troublesome for people. And then over here, so that's what is going to happen. So it is not going to be a very good period. What we need to understand is that we need to help each other, and helping others is extremely good. As human beings, that's what we can do. That's the main, I mean, we can do good karma. That is the main point of coming to being a human being, because we come in the physical form because so that we can collect good karma and pay off our bad karma. So that's the choice we have. Every day we can be a medium for good or medium for bad. I mean, if you understand astrology, you will never get angry with anybody, because it's karma, nothing else. Everything that happens in life is there, absolutely there. It's so clear. I mean, there's nothing that cannot be explained, because astrology has a bad name because it's not understood by people properly. And I cannot teach this in a second. It took me years, probably about 20 years, to understand all of that. I still learning. So it's a truly blessing to learn this. Anybody who learn this, he will be a very, very good person, because he understand what karma can do for somebody. I think that's about it. I don't want this to be much longer. Any questions you can write down. I know that this is going to happen, and I will do a follow-up afterwards. Okay, thank you so much.